Did you screenshot the questions?
Yes, I have.
Oh, look at that. Preparation. So we have some questions that we can start with, right?
Do you want to show everyone the banana?
This is our mascot.
Ted got really excited after he saw my yellow banana, which is actually we'll start basic. How much capital would you suggest is needed to start out in property development?
Shall I start?
Yeah, you answer this one.
So at the minimum, you need 25. I would say you need 25% of the purchase price of a property.
Okay.
So if you're really starting out and you're looking at a house in wherever and it's 400 grand, you need, not necessarily you, but in cash of some form, you need 25%. You probably then need another 5% for costs, legals, if you get surveys, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So for me, I would say wherever you live, wherever you're looking to invest, say, right, 100 grand house, I need about 30k, because you can borrow the rest on a bridge or a mortgage to get started. Have you anything to add, make it more tangible?
So I was going to actually go 180 and swing the other way and actually be a little bit controversial. So it'd be interesting to see who agrees with like some of my statements. I would actually go and say you don't need any money yourself to start in property development, but you need one or two of the other skills of a triangle that you talk about.
Yes, the famous triangle.
That's hot.
So what is the triangle? Tell everyone. Money.
Yep. Money, time,
and
then experience, knowledge, and
the deal itself.
The deal itself.
Other stuff. I agree with that. I do agree with you.
So I think if you don't bring out of the triangle, if you don't bring the money element, if you bring the deal and like the experience and knowledge and then the time, you could pair up with somebody or get somebody to invest with you to do them.
Yeah. That's a mindset shift, isn't it? When you first start out, it's weird to think, oh, why would they give me money? I'm getting a house. But actually, you're giving them an opportunity, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's quite a tricky mindset change as well.
Malvi says agree with Dave Rob. Malvi was on my Facebook and now she's come on Instagram.
Real fan, she's a real fan. Harks, thank you very much, appreciate it. Hey Raymond, what is the next question, Dave, because you've got it on your computer?
Yeah, so, and that was from Daxa O, and we had another question from her, which is quite good to, because we've actually been asked this by investors like in the past few days. What's the first step to seeking private investment?
I think the real first step is to be a good person.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? Like, I think the first step is to be a good person. The second step is to fix your mindset to receive the blessings. I sound like we're in church.
You're going very deep here.
But because it's easy to just sort of say, oh, right, go on to this, do this, type in this, find this. But actually, the mechanics, anyone can follow mechanics, right? Anyone can follow a recipe, right? Mm-hmm. It's mechanics. But actually, you need to be a good person, so have integrity and be trustworthy. But then you also need to like have a mind that can accept investment and understand the whole world of investing. And that doesn't just come naturally, I don't think.
Agreed. So I did a whole presentation on this at PP in Knightsbridge on like seeking private investment. I agree with your points, what you made about like it's a mind shift change and being a good person, having good like moral values. I think definitely helps. I actually, interestingly, today ended up having an hour conversation randomly on the phone with my gas engineer, who is actually at one point had 600 HMO rooms in my investment area, and then he sold a lot of them.
600?
And he sold a lot of them in auction. And, you know, like, I was talking to him about my model and stuff, and he said, I said, you can meet somebody for an hour and you'll get to know their morals and their values and what they stand for. And I've actually met people who have had money and they've made a comment of, like, belittling other people. And I thought, going like really deeper, like this is the reason why we have genocide, is when people think they're better than other people. And I thought, I don't want to work with someone that has that mindset, even if you're giving me 200 grand, because I'm not, like I just really didn't feel comfortable with that because it wasn't aligned with my morals. So I've said no to things, and I think it's when you have like high morals, it's okay to say good to stuff, say no to stuff. But the first step to seeking private investment, yeah, I'd agree with you, is like mindset and like having good morals, and then just, you know, knowing your stuff, knowing your deals, and being confident and comfortable.
I think what you said is really important though, sorry to interrupt you. Knowing your stuff. Even though you're a beginner, that doesn't mean that you don't know your stuff. It may mean that you physically don't know it, because you don't, because you haven't been through the deals. But if your figures are tight, if your due diligence is tight, and everything is like waterproof as much as it can be, and your understanding is at a high level, and you're showing this to the world via a brand, that is going to show people that, okay, yeah, you might be new, so yeah, they may be like, okay, you know, I can, you know, that's a problem, but if you know your stuff, they're going to say, okay, this person is making such an effort, and potentially my money is safe with them because of the level of due diligence they've gone into. So knowing your stuff is super important. I mean, this applies to deal sources too. There's plenty of crap deals being disguised as, you can polish a turd and it's still a turd. So yeah, the same thing applies.
It sounds like Daniel S. Rye agrees with us. Real
Thumbs
Paul
up.
McGee agrees
Thumbs
with
up.
us. Mr. Miyagi, I love that name. But yeah, so ask us questions, and like, you know, feel free to engage with us as well. Hey Dave, hey Tej, to James, the hotel.
Hotel Uncle James, that guy's like, yeah, that's my uncle.
Fabian, love you, miss you more.
What, this is not like a family catch-up session, mate?
No, I'm just scrolling through the things. So, because you've had a question there, which is quite good, which is a really good question that I had earlier.
Go on.
Tony Singer's asked, how did you guys transition from the corporate world to property full time, and how long did it take you, Tej?
So I got...
What's your background? So
I studied biochemistry at university, good Indian boy, yeah, it was all going well. Worked in pharmaceuticals, and I lost interest in pharmaceuticals because it's unethical and they just do it for money. So I went into a really ethical job, recruitment. And I basically just got fired from pharmaceuticals, and I was like, let me start a business.
Nice.
And I just...
How old were you?
23.
Wow. How old are you now?
How old do I look? Everyone can put in, let's see if the moisturiser, your tips are working for moisturising. I haven't shaved though, but yeah, let's guess how old I am. And then, yeah, so for me it was easy because the first shift, because I was just like, oh, whatever, I'm working at home, I get up, I was a bit stupid maybe, that I was oblivious to actually, like, how difficult it could have been and how much I should have done, if that makes sense. I was kind of going through it, like, ignorance is bliss, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So I was just like, oh,
you don't know what you don't know as well.
Yeah, but truth be told, it took like 2 years to get used to working from home alone, getting up, having to be like, okay, Tej,
having that motivation.
yeah, you need to motivate yourself.
Yeah.
I don't see a boss around me. So, Tony, it can take as long as it. I think there's an equation. Yeah, you probably know this because you're good at maths and all that, so charts and stuff. The longer you are in a corporate job, the longer it'll take you to transition. Like, simply put, because you're so ingrained in that. I wasn't. I left so early that I just became it, you know? But
So
you had a different story.
I have a little bit of a different story. So I did maths at university. I was in the corporate world for about 5 years. My first job, straight after university, I went travelling and then lived in Spain. And then I moved to New York for a graduate job. And then I came back to London. I spent 4 years of my time at HSBC. So I was on the trading floor as a junior trader. I was the youngest one on the desk. And so for me, I just hated what I was doing. Like, I didn't want to be a trader, and I didn't want that to symbolise like my life. Also, my role models that were at the bank stopped becoming my role models. So I actually started looking for jobs in international development. I broke my wrist in Greece working with refugees, and then I just, like, I'd already invested in a property, and then I just knew I was going to do property. So I'd left in like February 2017. The algorithms got me, I signed up to a property course in April 2017 with a broken wrist. And then I knew I had 2 offers accepted, and I was buying properties by January 2018. Because it does take a few months to like figure out research, go to investment areas. I drove up and down the country by myself. I'd stayed in Airbnbs with locals in like their spare rooms, because, you know, it was all about like engaging with locals. And if I don't know people in Liverpool or Sunderland, the best thing I can do is rent a room in a house of somebody in the local area and walk the street. So I did things like that, and
top tip.
Yeah, and you know, just went around, and I just thought I had this vision that I kind of always, I said this like the other day, I've always known I was going to be successful, whatever that means, right? Like whatever your equivalent is. But then I just had this massive drive, and I was so motivated to want to make a name for myself and do something. So my transition took less than a year. I got lucky, I guess I met the right people, or you know, I did spend a decent amount on property courses, and I got a property mentor, so I had the benefit or the luxury of being able to do that, which I appreciate some people don't have sometimes. So
good answer. So we've got to take a quick few questions from the Instagram.
Going from Mr. Miyagi, that's a quite good follow-up question. 'Cause
Yeah.
I just mentioned I went to courses. Do you still go to seminars, and are there any coming up that you will be at?
I go for banter.
And
what
then seminars do you go to? Oh yeah, okay, I know.
Yes, I went.
Come to my house. We'll see after.
Oh yeah, that's basically why I do it. I don't go to seminars because I am very difficult to teach. Like, in order for me to learn, it has to be in a comfortable environment. You need the kitchen nearby, the toilet nearby. Yeah, I said it. You need food nearby. Like I'm like a, you know, I need comfort and things around me to learn. So I learn a lot better from like e-learning and things like that in my own space. So seminars, they can be good for networking, but do I want to sit through 10 minutes of believe in yourself, buy now? We've got a special offer today, 1997. You're going to change your life in 3 months. I ain't got time for that shit.
Whereas I'm the complete opposite.
You love it, innit?
It's not because I love it.
I've got a course you can buy off me. Special offer. Just for you, innit?
998 or something.
998, man, that's it.
Look at your socks. No, I like a classroom environment. So how I've always kind of learned is around my peers, and is around like how we measure intelligence, right? Maybe this isn't the correct way, but we're always put into sets and groups, and how one is measured by intelligence is by the people around them. And so for me, I've always it's been good for me to be around peers and understand what people around me are doing. So I actually like that environment because of a classroom environment. So I like being around people and talking to them and engaging with people like one-on-one about their personal experiences. I just prefer that engagement and like talking to people and building up those relationships rather than just like tip-tapping away from a computer and a laptop. And I can get lost in a thought. Whereas in a classroom, we were talking about being present in the car earlier. I can be really present in the moment, phone away and not be distracted. But if I'm sitting at home, I'm distracted, like I'm thinking about something.
That's a good point.
I'm a little bit hungry, so I'm going to the kitchen. Whereas I'm present in the moment, I have to be there, I'm forced to be there. So I engage and I work well with...
I think, you know, we are going to be at PPN Knightsbridge on the 14th of February.
We are.
Is it 14th? It's the 11th of February. It's my own event, don't you know this? Susanna Cole's there, so if you want to see both of us...
I'm really excited to meet Susanna Cole.
She's amazing.
I've listened to the podcast that you did with her like 2 or 3 times because there were so many golden nuggets. I've repeated and shared her podcast with so many people, and then I've had to re-listen to it to be like, what was that golden nugget, like, you know, months later. So I'm really excited to meet her. But on the 26th of February, we're
both speaking at Ranjan's Baker Street property meet.
We
There's about
are.
150 people go there, 200?
200.
It's probably the biggest event in the UK.
You told me that actually.
Yeah.
That it's the biggest event.
And we went to it last time, we loved it, your commentary was really good. So it's a really good event. So
You're definitely being sarcastic.
So come and see us on the 26th of February and also on the 11th. We'll be there. But in terms of educational seminars, we have our views, but you don't... I know you still go on course. You go on courses. Yeah, you do. I don't. But again, that's our learning style.
Yeah,
and what we take from it, right?
I think there's like room to learn, and if someone can teach me in quicker, rather than me learning it in 15 years and 20 years that they've done it in, if they can teach me in a year, I want to engage and learn from them. So definitely.
That's 100% correct. Any more questions on your thing?
So a question that I got in from Instagram: since you quit your corporate jobs, have you both simply lived off your property investment income? How have you found this, and any tips, advice? Now it sounds like somebody that's looking to do the transition. Do you mind sharing, or do you not want to share?
No, I will share. So I essentially, because of the way I'm growing, and because, so for example, your HMO's net, we know this, like 800 to 1,000, a lot, should we say?
What a decent amount.
Whereas buy-to-let's net 250 to 350, depending on where they are. Now, because of the way I'm trying to grow, like this, I basically have not made money from my portfolio in the first, what's it been, 6 months. A lot of it has been in refurbs. There's a few bridging interest payments which are monthly. There's investors to pay. So I've basically taken a sacrifice on myself, which is here's savings for this amount of time, but during this period, everything that comes in the company is going literally straight back out. So it is the reality of property investment, and it is a sacrifice. If you're doing buy-to-lets and you want to buy boom 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 and like, you know, you're using investor finance, there are costs to this, and the cost being, you know, you're not getting salary for X many months, right? And it can reach a crunch point, but that's why you have to plan it. People say, when should I quit my job? It depends on your strategy.
Yeah. You
know, Devinder can quit at a different time than I can quit, probably a lot earlier than I can. If you're doing rent to rent, you can quit way earlier than either of us, right? So it varies, but yeah, I've been living off savings, you know, whole time Monzo, just from my last job basically, and from my other business that doesn't really do much anymore. So yeah.
Another thing I wanted to add is that, like, both of us actually, like, Malvin read HMO to Genocide, your next book, when I talked about genocide, we both live at home with our parents, and that keeps costs low, and we both got engaged as well, so bing bing, not to each other, obviously.
I didn't get a ring there, did I?
To our separate partners. So, and we're both getting married, so like that's definitely been a thing to like save money, and you know,
big time.
This is going to be a thing where we're going to live together, we're going to be like, you know, having to pay for bills and stuff, and yeah, like, so that transition from that is definitely like trying to build up the property portfolio to be in a more comfortable place.
Yeah.
A little bit about me, I actually did have one investment property that I bought in London, which definitely funded my life and like funded my ability to sustain myself. But my costs were low because I live at home with my parents. And then as I did my HMOs, you know, I got comfortable with deducting whatever from them and extracting whatever.
But yeah, be prepared when people post on Facebook, I made this much flip profit, this much rental profit. It's profit technically, but you don't know if it's going towards their Porsche or towards paying off an investor, and it obviously should be the second. But just remember, don't compare yourselves, because you don't know where that profit is going, right?
Yeah.
And it's important that we speak about things like this, because seminars that Devinder loves won't tell you this, right? So we have to share this.
Why you're making it out like these seminars? I don't think
what's the next question? I'm going to scroll down on Facebook. You've just been given... Oh, I like this question from Rishi Handa.
Okay.
Oh my god, a bit dizzy. It says, so guys, you've just been given 200 grand by a private investor. What would you do with it?
Well, I know, because I got £220,000 from my Hong Kong investor.
Oh, damn.
So I know the answer to that question. What would you do?
I would give them an amazing return. So if anyone listening wants an amazing return, get in contact. I would carry on. I would carry on buying.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, I would carry on buying properties and doing what I'm doing. I mean, that would get me like, 7 houses actually. So I'm pretty sorted with 200k. But yeah, I think like Rishi, it depends. Again, everything depends on your end goals, how you want to get there, why you want to get there, and then work back from it. You need 10 grand a month. Okay, so is that 10 HMOs or is that 40 buy-to-lets? Then what's the requirements for you to actually get that, right? You've got to work backwards to then build to that end goal. But look, with 200k, I mean, look, if you invest in London, then congratulations on your garage, 200k. But if you invest anywhere else, then 200k can get you a lot, even in, I don't know, semi-expensive places.
Yeah, so for me, I already have like my area strategy figured out, so I would continue buying in my area, which is what I'm doing, and